Hey guys, Josh Lloyd here for another DraftKings NBA First Look, this time for Monday with 11 games on. Absolute massive one there for us to look at. Before I talk about it, why don't you go hit the notification bell? You're gonna see these videos as soon as they come out. Drop a thumbs up and leave your comments down below. Let's talk games. First game, Atlanta, Detroit. No spread or total for a lot of these games. The Hawks are coming in off a back-to-back. I wonder if they start Brandon Goodwin in this one, because they did start him for the second half on Sunday. And if they do start him, then his value obviously increases. Goodwin is priced at $4,300. I'd be pretty interested in him in a scenario where he does start. We've seen him put up big numbers in starting roles before. It's just that unfortunately they're not giving him that starting role. But I think that might change here. Lou Williams at $4,500 was pretty quiet on Sunday, but went off in the fourth quarter. There is value in him there. Well, for the Pistons, it's very hard to understand what the hell they're doing. They had limited Mason Plumlee, 16, 20 minutes a night. And then the last two, they went, nah, you know what? We're making a push for the 14th seed? I don't know. And they're playing him 30 minutes a night. So if he plays 30 a night at $5,600, he's good value. But if common sense prevails and they play Isaiah Stewart, then he's shithouse value. And that is really tough to work out. Now, he's averaging 38 over the last three. I don't know what Dwayne Casey's doing. Is he chasing wins? He's chasing stupidity. I know that much. Corey Joseph's at $5,000, and he started and played the bulk of the minutes over Killian Hayes last game in another absolutely brain-dead decision. At $5,000, he can be all right to use, but I wouldn't be massively into it. 58 for Josh Jackson feels a little bit too high, while Johnny Collins at 75 doesn't really tweak it for me. And Bogdanovic at 78 also feels like it's probably on the high side. I'd be really reluctant to use Killian Hayes and Isaiah Stewart again when they're playing Plumlee and Joseph ahead of those blokes at this point. Next up, the Spurs, the Wizards, actually, let's try again. The Spurs and the red-hot Washington Wizards, winners of 8 straight. On a back-to-back, though, the Wizards, let's fire up our Dan Gaffords. He played 27 minutes and absolutely stuffed the stat sheet. He's at sub 4,000. I think if you've got a cash lineup that doesn't have Gafford in it, you are doing cash games wrong. I think if you've got a GPP lineup without Gafford, I reckon you're in real trouble as well. Westbrook at 10.9. Wasn't quite at his best on Sunday, but I still like that. While Brad Beal's at 97. I'll be a little bit worried about Beal. Hurt his leg late on Sunday. He claims he's fine, but 97 is a lot to risk there. Derek White's at 6,900. I don't like that they've bumped his salary up that much. DeRozan at 87 feels a little on the high side to me as well. DeJounte at 71 is probably the Spurs guy I'd have more interest in at that sort of price. He can fill it up, and his ability to generate steals does get those points ticking over at a much higher rate than some other players. Next up, we go to the Lakers and we go to the Orlando Magic. Of course, this is Anthony Davis's third game back in action after that extended calf injury layoff. The Magic, they are on a back-to-back. We don't know the status of guys like Terrence Ross, James Ennis, Michael Carter-Williams, who all sat out on Sunday. I would expect they all sit out again, but we don't know that. Well, Dennis Schroeder is currently questionable for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Schroeder at 7,000 I think would be a really good play if he does happen to go in this one. So we have to watch that one. Drummond's at 74, not interested, too high. 69 for Wendell Carter feels a little high, as does 49 for Chuma Akiki. I don't mind the 6,200 for Cole Anthony. It does feel a little on the high side, but I'm not completely against it. And I am definitely not spending 9,400 on Anthony Davis. There is no way, no how that I'm doing that in his third game back. In fact, this game is just not one that I think we should be targeting for DFS. The value is not really there. Outside of maybe Dennis Schroeder, I don't really love a huge amount for this one. Let's go to the next one. It is the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are without Ben Simmons. Toby Harris and Joel Embiid are both questionable, while Lou Dort has been ruled out already for the Thunder. Furkan Korkmaz is already questionable as for the Sixers as well. Svi Mykhailiuk at 3,600. He has been starting when Dort is out. So Mykhailiuk at 3,600. He's got to be in play for us here. I think Toby Harris at 76, if he does play, looks all right. While I'll be looking at guys more like Matisse Thybulle in case he just racks up some stats in a big opportunity if we do have Korkmaz out in addition to Simmons. Isaiah Roby at 5,000. I think that works pretty well for me. He's getting minutes ahead of Moses Brown and Tony Bradley despite coming off the bench. So his numbers have been okay. While Baisley's at 6,600 and his usage goes through the roof when he does not play alongside Lou Dort. So there's a real opportunity for Bays to put up some good numbers. The Oklahoma City Mudflap, Kenrich Williams, is probably not the most intriguing guy. Tony Bradley revenge game. Alexei Pokusevski at 5,200. There are options there. I'm not particularly interested in them. Maybe Teo Maledon at 5,300 has a little bit of utility. We know he'll shoot poorly, but he'll get a lot more usage and ball handling if Dort is out. Well, not if Dort is out. We know that Dort is out. The Cavs, they come in on a back-to-back. They take on the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors, they're not on the injury report at this point, but we have to always watch for rests at the beginning of a 5-game week for them. Anunoby's at 6,800. Now, OG has been putting up some really strong numbers. He's averaging 38 over the last 3, but there is an element of risk in him. I wouldn't want to use Lowry, and I'd be pretty hesitant with Kevin Love at 6,800, given it is a back-to-back. Now, Love has been playing through back-to-backs, but there's every chance that he doesn't here, and that would increase the value of Larry Nance. Nance at 5,600 has been downright disappointing. Now, if Love is out and he starts, then I'd be all about him, but otherwise, no. Kem Birch at 4,800. I'm very interested to use Kem Birch in the games when Siakam and Anunoby and all those guys sit. In this one, he's going to start, he's going to soak up minutes, but I'm not sure he's going to do a huge amount in that playing time. But I do like Pascal Siakam at 8,900. I think there is value in him. We're not sure of the status of Colin Sexton dealing with a concussion, but I don't actually care because, well, that's not true. I do care. I hope the guy's all right. But in terms of me using Darius Garland, I don't care because Garland's going to have value with Sexton and his value is going to have even more. It's going to be even more apparent if Sexo happens to be out. I wouldn't mind using Sexton, but I think Garland's the way to go. Van Vliet at 8,300 could work well. Jarrett Allen turned in a monster up against the Wizards. Now up against the Wizards, up against the Raptors can be different, but Kem Birch is not a defensive juggernaut. Let's hope Allen turns that around again. But at 7,000, the price is pretty high to take that risk on. Phoenix. The Knicks, back-to-back here for Phoenix after losing to Brooklyn. So they get the New York back-to-back going on. The Knicks, of course, winners of 8 straight. The Suns are 1-point favorites. The total's 215.5. We don't know if Jay Crowder's going to be available. He's been out the last couple with an ankle injury, and Cameron Johnson's been starting in his place. Well, we have to assume that Dario Saric will return after resting on Sunday, but these are not big DFS options. Emmanuel Quickley is someone I think we can consider because Tom Thibodeau has finally realised the 50-game folly of his ways and decided to limit Alfred Payton's minutes, but that could easily change and Quickley could play 5 minutes here because Thibodeau has that affinity for shit players because they've been in the league for a long time. Quickly at 3,800, I do think is worth looking at. While the double royal, Julius Randle at 9,900, we know that he has been dropping absolute monster bombs on us. 59-point average over the last 5. Yeah, fire that up. Reggie Bullock at 4,800 with Alec Burks out. Bullock's numbers have been rising. He's at 4,800. He's not the greatest DFS option, so I'm not fully in on that. 8,400 for Devin Booker's all right, but I don't think it's the best play out there. While 76 for Chris Paul definitely gets me more excited than spending that extra cash on Devin Booker. The Bulls take on the Heat. The Heat are 4-point favorites in this game, one of the few games that does have a spread available for us. And the total here is 206 points. Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn are both questionable for Miami, while Goran Dragic is returning after resting in the last game. Zach LaVine remains sidelined for Chicago. Heroes at 48, only GPPs, not super interested in that. While Bam Adebayo, I reckon there's a massive opportunity. Going up against Nikola Vucevic, Bam at sub 9,000 can easily have a 50-point game here. Not keen on Thad Young at all. Jimmy Butler at 95, I think is pretty good. Pretty solid floor, I think, for Butler at that sort of price tag against his former team. While Nunn has been playing pretty well, but I think 5,800 with a questionable tag would probably steer me away. Kobe White's elevated all the way up to 6,500, and there's a good reason for that. He's playing well. 36 points over the last 3 games, 34 over the last 5. Big minutes without Zach LaVine, and I think there's another opportunity for him. The only thing that worries me a little bit here is the Miami defense, so that might just make us just slide away from him somewhat in this situation. Trevor Ariza, Garrett Temple, Patrick Williams, absolutely not. All right, next one, the Utah Jazz. The Minnesota Timberwolves. The Wolves got the surprise win over the Jazz last time out. Can the Jazz rectify that? They'll have no Donovan Mitchell, and they are favored by a whopping 10 points, and the total is 230. Rudy Gobert is at 8,600. Been a little bit down the last few, Gobert. I don't mind it here, but I'm not falling all over myself. With Mitchell out, I think we look at Conley at 7,400 as a relatively solid option for us. Joe Ingles was pretty piss poor in the last game with just 15 points, but he can be an option. I don't like the salary, though, for Ingles at 6,500. And then Towns at 10,700. That's one I really do like. We're seeing the ball go through his hands a lot. Anthony Edwards, Goose, he's up at 7,400. He dropped 50 last game. I am absolutely in on him at 7,400. While D'Angelo Russell at 64 finally cracked 30 minutes in the last game, coming off the bench, but I don't care. He should be a 30-plus point performer in this one. Rubio, O'Neal, Bogdanovic, not really the guys to get my motor running. The Clippers The Pelicans. The Clippers are 3.5-point favorites here in this game. The total is 227.5 points. The Clippers, of course, will once again be without Patrick Beverley, Serge Ibaka, and Kawhi Leonard. While Rajon Rondo is questionable, Steven Adams is questionable, and James Johnson is questionable. Marcus Morris returns from rest. And returning from rest at 5,900, I do like that for Marcus Morris Sr. Paul George at 9,600. This dude is dropping big numbers at the moment. He's averaging 57 over the last 5. I am in on him. I don't really see the Pelicans stopping him. While Lonzo's at 6,700. Really good game from Lonzo last time out, and he's played well against the Clippers. 39 average the last 3 times. I'm not 100% confident in it, but I also don't mind it. Zion's at 10,100, probably edging to be a little bit too high for me, and 89 for Brandon Ingram similarly, and 51 for Najee Marshall. Probably just a GPP look. Fade Eric Bledsoe, while 5,800 for Reggie Jackson, I actually think looks all right. I think there is a bit of value there in Reg at that sort of salary. Memphis and Denver. Next game up, second last game of the day. The Grizzlies on that back-to-back taking on the Nuggets. Big Shaq Harrison at 3,000. This is a guy that can generate steals in bunches, so just keep the name in the back of your mind. If he gets 20 minutes, he could exceed that number. Big Chungus Nikola Jokic is at 11,000. I like this opportunity for Jokic. He's always a guy that we want to have in consideration, while Dozier's at 5,200, and he'll be starting for PJ Barton, not PJ Barton, for Farton Will Barton. PJ Dozier has some value. Aaron Gordon has been delightfully shithouse since he has joined the Nuggets. But there is that extra usage opportunity with no Murray and no Barton. He's at least a GPP option. While Valanciunas at 8,000, it feels a little bit too high for me going up against Jokic. Melton's at 4,000, only GPPs because we cannot trust Taylor Jenkins to play the correct guys the right minutes. While Ja Morant, the numbers have been improving. The salary has also jumped up to 8,200, but that's fine because he's averaging 49 over the last 3, 50 over the last 5. I'm okay with using him. Same with Maga Porter Jr. at 8,500, although that is, again, a very elevated salary for Porter. I'm not against it. I'm just not thinking it's the best one out there. Jaren Jackson will return after sitting out on Sunday. He's at 6,500. He's averaging 33 since he came back. Do I trust that? Probably not. But he's at least someone that we pay a little bit of attention to. The last game of the day is the Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings. This is a back-to-back for Sacramento. Richaun Holmes returned on the weekend, but De'Aaron Fox will remain out. And interestingly, Richardson, Porzingis, Doncic, and Kleber are all questionable. This is the beginning of a 5-game week for the Mavericks with 2 back-to-backs, and these guys are going to sit out. Them being listed as questionable makes me think that they will all sit this one out, but we do not know that. And if they do sit this one out, then we're really firing up Jalen Brunson at 4,700. Tremendous value in Brunson at that spot. We'll really be firing up our Willie Cauley-Steins, our Dorian Finney-Smiths, and Dwight Powell's, maybe even Tim Hardaway. But there is a lot of uncertainty with that Mavericks lineup. With the Kings, Delon Wright at 5,000 looks pretty good to me. Tyrese Halliburton at 68 is edging towards being high, but I don't hate it. And then we have to see whether Holmes plays in the back-to-back. I like it otherwise, but I'm a little bit risk-averse there. While the pencil Harrison Barnes at 7,700 has some value, but I reckon that might be just overestimating Barnes' abilities just somewhat. If we look at the values right across the slate, you got to love Dan Gafford, Delon Wright, Svi Mykhailiuk, Russ Westbrook, Toby Harris if he plays, Embiid if he plays maybe, but probably not, Jokic quickly, Plumlee perhaps, Marcus Morris, Brunson, Randall, Dozier, Derrick Rose putting up some good numbers, OG Anunoby, DeJounte Murray, Jordy Clarkson, Lou Williams, Paul George, and D'Angelo Russell. Guys, that'll do it for me today. Don't forget, hit the notification bell. Thumb me up. Here it is. Just give me one of those. Hit the thumbs up, leave your comments down below, and follow my channel as well. It's linked in the title. It's linked in the description. Josh Lloyd Fantasy Basketball. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See ya.